Hello everybody, it's Miss Stark again, and today we are actually going to go over rhetorical devices. So what is rhetoric, right? Rhetoric is a technique that is used using language or words that will increase the persuasiveness of a piece of writing, right? So it's different techniques that you can use or different devices that you can use to make your piece more persuasive by using the language that you use. Repetition, alliteration, parallelism, antithesis, right? Asking rhetorical questions. Like all of those are rhetorical devices that can strengthen your persuasive arguments, right? In the way that you speak. Okay. So here are just a few. So the first one is parallelism. Parallelism is the use of similar grammatical structures that link related ideas. So an example of a sentence that is not parallel. Volunteering is fun, easy, and rewards you. Well, even when you say it out loud or you read it out loud, it doesn't make sense. Like you were like fun, easy, and rewarding, right? You're keeping it in the same tense, right? You're making it link. You wouldn't say, in my free time, I love to run, jump, and swimming. You would say, I love to run, jump, and swim. He came, he saw, he conquered, right? Those are all parallel statements. They all have a similar grammatical structure throughout, right? Linking the ideas together. The next one would be analogy. Analogy is a comparison between two things that are alike, right? So for example, they used to have this PSA where they cracked an egg in a frying pan, and they used to show like your brain on drugs. They say, this is your brain. They show the frying pan. This is drugs. This is your brain on drugs. And they crack the egg in the frying pan and it like sizzles, right? So that's a direct correlation between what's happening to your brain and what's happening to the egg when you use drugs, right? An analogy is not a metaphor. They are similar, but they're not exactly the same. An analogy shows you similar relationships between two things, while a metaphor replaces the meaning of one word with another word, or uses two things that are not similar to compare them, right? So an analogy uses, or tries to use, a relationship between two things that are similar, right? Like your brain frying if you use drugs, okay? Like the egg frying in a pan. Antithesis is a side-by-side placement of contrasting ideas or words to give a feeling of balance, right? Give me liberty or give me death, right? It's comparing two opposite concepts, liberty and death, right? Or many are called, but few are chosen, right? Many, few. One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Small step, giant leap, right? It's a side-by-side comparison of opposite or contrasting words or ideas. Okay. Anaphora is the repetition of a word or phrase at the beginning of several sentences. Okay? So yes, anaphora is repetition. So all anaphora is repetition, but not all repetition is anaphora, because anaphora is only at the beginning of several sentences, whereas repetition can be anywhere. You can have repetition at the beginning, the middle, the end, right? But anaphora is specifically at the beginning, right? We shall fight on the beaches. We shall fight on the landing grounds. We shall fight in the fields of the streets. We shall fight in the hills, right? So we shall fight is anaphora, okay? This is what happened to your brain after taking heroin. This is what your body goes through. This is what your family goes through. So this is what is the repeating element at the beginning of these sentences, okay? So anaphora is, again, all anaphora is repetition, but not all repetition is anaphora. Rhetorical question. So rhetorical question, and we've talked about this before, is a question to make a point or create a dramatic effect, but you're not expecting an answer. Okay? So like when your mom asks, do I look stupid? And she is angry. First of all, you never answer that question. Never. Right? She's asking it for effect. She is not asking it to get an answer. Right? So a rhetorical question is a question that's used to make a point, but you're not expecting anybody to like answer that question for you. Okay? Alliteration. Alliteration is two or more words in a phrase or a line that share the same beginning consonant sound. Right? So two or more words in a phrase or on a line that share the same beginning consonant sound. Sally sells seashells, right? Doubting, dreaming, dreams. no mortal has ever dared to dream. Love me some Edgar Allan Poe, right? That's alliteration, right? Similar sounding sounds. Okay. Repetition, right? Repetition uses words, images, or phrases that are over and over again. Again, all repetition is not anaphora. Anaphora is at the beginning, right? Whereas repetition can be throughout. It can be images, it can be phrases, it can be whatever, right? Win, 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 fight, fight, fight. That's repetition, right? She came, she saw, she conquered. Well, that's technically anaphora. But I have a dream, like Martin Luther King. I have a dream. He kept saying it over and over and over. That's repetition. Alrighty, guys. Thanks for sticking with me on these 7 rhetorical devices. Have a great day.